Okay, so let's kick off this game of Andean Abyss. This is my first time playing, so obviously I'm going to make mistakes. Probably not just in strategy, but in terms of the rules themselves. First thing we do is we turn up one of these cards. So, what does this allow us? First of all, this gives us the play order. So first the FARC and then the AUC are going to get options to use this. And it has a dual event. This could go either way. The government executes 3 special activities, is one event, or man-pads feared. Until next propaganda, no government special activities where guerrillas. Now this is an insurgent momentum option, so if the second option is played, it'll go in here to indicate, hey, this is in effect for the turn. And then here is next turn's option, which also has the same sequence on it. I wonder what this second ops up here means. I better look that up, huh? Free attack on the FARC by the cartel. And that, you know, whoever triggers it could cause that to happen, and then the cartel would get those free options to attack. Or otherwise, the cartels transfer resources to the FARC for each space with cartels and FARC. Okay, well that's kind of interesting. So that's probably intriguing to the FARC. They may want to hold off on this one. On the other hand, this one is interesting to the FARC as well. So they have kind of 2 options, both of which are appealing to them, and either of which may well get played by the other side. Now let me look up and try to figure out what that card means, why there's a 2 up there. See if we can see quickly. Now, I'm going to have to look and try to find that out, because I wasn't expecting to see a little number up there that says second ops. Maybe that's for the non-players somehow. I'll have to see. Yeah, that appears to be the case there. Alright, so now the FARC have the first option. Which card do they want when it comes down to it? They can only choose this one right now. But if they choose to activate on this one, it means this other one's not to their taste. I think they want one of these events. No government special activities where guerrillas. That affects all guerrillas, doesn't it? Well, that I have to take that into advantage. These are my special abilities. I'm not terribly interested in that. I am interested in this if there's cartel bases and FARC guerrillas sharing. And there are FARC guerrillas and cartel bases all over the place. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pass with the FARC and take a resource. Okay, player number 2 to choose here is going to be the AUC. They're not terribly worried about government special forces. How are they interested in this ganja or whatever, gromage? Be interesting to look up the historical information on all these cards. See how good it is, just because I have no idea what many of them are about. This is not a subject matter that I or many people probably have a great deal of knowledge on. This is card number 26. They seem to be ordered numerically. Yeah, they got a nice little FARC had a precise schedule of fees, Gromaggi did a charge. Nice little historical link to every single one of these. That's kind of cool, because there's not enough room on the card itself to handle that. Okay, well, how does the AUC feel? They're pretty sure what the FARC's going to do with this, and now the choice is, hey, you want to do something? Okay. Well, what would we want to do? First of all, we want to think about what our victory is. We want bases. Okay. How do we get bases? Well, rally certainly starts us on that way, but we've got a lot of bases to build, and we've got to start hurting the FARC to also do this. Okay, fair enough. Not on. Oh, okay. Gain resources. See, so our choices. We're not going to take the event here. That's for certain. FARC mandaps deemed a myth. That's not painful to us. So if we choose, we could take an operation and a special activity, which, given that the FARC's already passed, we might as well do one of the better things. So if we want to go, we want to do a special activity, I think. Well, I don't know. I really don't. You know, I'm a little worried about this card, or no? Not terribly. Although I don't like the FARC getting stronger. But I'm not going to hold off because I don't get a chance to fire the event. So, Alright. Well, we're allowed to attack. We're allowed to assassinate, which sounds like fun. We're allowed to ambush, which would help with an attack. Oh, this can only be done with terror, the assassination. So that doesn't sound like a good idea. So I think what we want to do is we want to extort. In which case, well, I guess we could do a rally. That sounds like fun. Okay, rally is going to give us a guerrilla. We have to pay 1 per space, but it gives us a guerrilla, or replaces 2 with a base. Well, and yes, I'm taking forever here. What would I want for a base? Well, there's nowhere where I have 2 guerrillas. Boy, this is tough to decide. It's got to be in a space without opposition. So I couldn't place it here or here. And outnumber enemy. Well, we don't outnumber the enemy anywhere except, say, here. We could extort there, huh? What would that mean? For each selected space, add 1 resource and activate an underground Auk Gorilla. Yeah, we definitely want to do the extortion special activity. So we're going to go here. And, jeez, it's so hard to think. What do I want as my basic activity, though? That's what it comes down to. Rally is possible anywhere without opposition. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to rally. So let me put little black and white markers. White markers for the extortion, black, and I don't know if I'm doing that the right way, black markers for the rallies. So let's see what we're going to buy. It's got to be a place without opposition. There's no opposition here. That's 1, 2. Do I need gorillas to rally? It doesn't appear to say so, or it doesn't appear that's the case. I think I'd better look that up. It seems a little weird if I don't. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to set up like this, and I'm doing 3 rallies, and I'm doing 2 extortions. Okay? The 3 rallies will cost me a resource per space, so I got to spend 1, 2, 3. I might as well do them first because I might be able to extort in additional spaces after I do the rally. We'll see. There cannot be, let's see, department, no opposition is what it specifies here. I get a guerrilla, or guerrillas if there's already a base, up to the population plus bases. Alright. There's no base here, so I get a guerrilla. I can remove this. I've paid for it already. Here, no bases, so I get a guerrilla. I don't know how wise I'm being. Here, though, there's a base, so I can grab 3 guerrillas in there. 2 for the population, and 1 for the base. That's what it seems to say. Instead, either place, or I could move guerrillas in there and flip them to underground, a way to kind of slip in and get safe into an area. But I want to build up my force. And now I get to extort. Alright. Well, I could conceivably place more extortion if I had increased myself somewhere, but I haven't gotten bigger than all my enemies. These guys count as enemies, and everywhere I'm not in a majority except these 2 locations. So I'll go with these. And what do I get? I add 1 resource and activate an underground Auk Gorilla. So that's 1, 2, and get some resources back. And that's my action with the Auk. Now we go to the government. Now the government's going to have the option to either take a second faction limited operation or to trigger the event. A limited operation doesn't sound too exciting. What was my event? 3 free special activities? That sounds cool. I'm going to take the event for this just because I don't think I'm going to get a shot with the event on this one. Of course, if the event's triggered, then I can do a major thing, but this sounds kind of cool. So let's see what 3 free special activities, right? 3 free special activities. Jeez, I'm not sure what that means. Does it mean I get to do each one? I'm not sure because, well, these 2 are any department, and this is 1 space to another. So it looks like government activities are limited to a location. These only work against exposed units. I could airstrike the Auk, I guess. That doesn't sound wise. I can destroy rural cartel bases and gain aid. That sounds good. So I look for any department with cartel pieces. It looks to me like I can do this 3 different times. I'm going to look that up because this is a powerful card if that's the case. Yeah, I think I can do all 3. What I'm doing here is in each case, aid goes up by 4. I'm doing it 3 times. That brings my aid up 12 points. Starts at 9? That seems a little weird. Indeed it does. 12 puts me to 21. That's got to be good. I'm going to get lots of money at the end of the period. But on top of that, I remove all cartel bases in the area. And then shift that or an adjacent Department 1 level. Oh! Ooh. Yeah, I thought it was just going to be this. Maybe there's safe places I can do this. I definitely want to do it here. But over in these, I'm going to be affecting... Well, these are 0 population. They're not really hurting me. Of course, who gets to choose is the question. Because, obviously, that's more dangerous. And I would guess someone else other than me gets to choose what the negative effects are. Well, I want to do this anyway, because it's a lot of points. So I'll take these 3 areas. should probably be doing them one at a time. Whoa, cartel, not FARC. Alright, I'll come back and see who gets to pick these. Well, it looks like I get to pick. These are zero population areas. They don't even have a space for opposition, so they're not a problem. So this guy can't hit anything, because there are no adjacent areas to him. He's all good for me, and I'll definitely remove him. Except it's the cartel, not the FARC. Good enough. Let's go here, though. Here it's more problematic. Here I'm going to be affecting this. Not much I can really do about it. I can't do this inside the city here anyway. So it's going to hit this, and that's going to create some opposition to me here. That's not really what I want to do, but it gets rid of more FARC, or more cartel stuff. And then this one just increases that problem. Maybe I don't want to do this here. Maybe I would rather, and I've increased active opposition by 2 here. That's opposition plus bases. Is there an opposition marker? I don't think so. Maybe I would rather hit something else, because I don't want to raise that too much. That hits 25 and this is over. So I think instead of this, I'll hit Meta East here, drop that one, and that's going to drop my support by 2 points. I don't expect to be able to win very easily, but I don't want to make it easy on the FARC to win, right? Alright, well that's pretty much the end of this turn. Let's see what else happens here. We go to adjust eligibility, which means these 2 factions drop into the inactive box. We move the card over. I'm going to put some dice here to remind me that that's there. And we draw a new one. This Mojo Manjoy. Joy Joy. Okay. Now that is again a FARC gets first option. And this could be painful if the government uses it. On the other hand, yeah, I don't know how exciting this looks. I think the FARC is going to go ahead and take this next card because it looks interesting. I really like how there's this assortment of, do you want this card? No. It's not some kind of bidding like a Euro would have. Each person's offered the card in an order that fits who'd have that first option. The problem is, of course, and it's kind of nice that you can see this the next card, because then you know, should I expose myself? Now, here's the question. He didn't pass, I don't think. I'm not sure. I have to peek at that. And I'll be back in a moment, because, see, this guy passed and he got a bonus for doing so. But I think you only do that if you were eligible and one of the first 2, including if someone else passed. I have to make sure of that, though. Yeah, that's the way this looks when we hit this adjust eligibility after the first 2 eligible factions complete their operations, or after all eligible factions instead of passed, adjust the cylinders. So we don't even get a chance for the cartels because they were 4th in line to do something. So they don't get any resources. These guys go back up. Alright, I'm going to load this one up.